It's very warm.
Huh?
I'm like twitchy right now, my leg. It's like jumping. Oh my gosh. This is like, oh. I'm more afraid than this than the R6.
That bike doesn't like low RPM.
Okay.
Start it. It doesn't like low RPM. Go ahead.
Wow. Very abrupt. Jeez. Whew. So annoying because it feels so weird. I'm like over here shaking. Ah. Such that I feel like I have more anxiety riding this than that.
You should.
You wanna, yeah, you do this, cause
Yeah. You don't need to have anything. Go ahead.
this thing is, that's insane. This thing is very violent.
That's why it's called violence.
Out and about on the RN22. Now that I've had this thing on the track, I can give an accurate account as to what I think about this bike. Having it on the track and the street, I can kind of say I'm experienced enough on this motorcycle to give an accurate account as to what I think about it now. I forgot to put my damn mirrors on, so it's still in track mode. And matter of fact, since it is, I have to get used to riding in A mode. So let's go ahead and switch this over to A mode now. Now we got even more twitchier throttle and the most available power. So this bike does very good on the streets. What it does really good on the streets, it also does really bad on the streets. So the gearing is exceptionally long on this motorcycle. We're not all the way up in the RPMs with screaming engine speeds. It has enough power when you need it. You can just roll on and get some acceleration. But with the gearing being so long, if you go down the first gear and you're trying to creep off the light per se, if you try to just let it idle out from there without just a little bit of throttle application, the bike can potentially stall on you. That's what it did to Jalen. Jalen is used to letting the clutch out on the R6 and then giving it a little bit of throttle, and the bike takes off as normal. But this bike, if you let the clutch out just a little bit, it will potentially stall on you. That's something that's easily identified to me. I understand it, I know what's going on. But to the average guy, if you just let the clutch out a little bit, see how you hear the RPM drop some? Down at 1 grand, it doesn't like that. You always got to take off on the line like it's an R6. Give it a little bit of juice, and it's good to go. Potential riders might not like that. A lot of guys on groups and forums and Facebook pages going to tell you, oh, go ahead and tune it. It's going to clear that up. Yes, it may, but if you understand it, it's not a big problem. It's not a huge issue. I kind of learned to deal with it. But with these long gears, it can give you a ton of top end. Now, although this bike only does 182 miles an hour, you're going to be barely switching gears on this thing because it has so much to give you. 100 miles an hour in first gear, 100 plus in second. It can be a very interesting ride if it gets away from you. You know, that little lurch like it's just doing just now, it doesn't really like low RPMs. It's just a Trader to CP4 engine. This bitch is going like hella fucking fast. It's a Trader to CP4 engine that it doesn't like low RPMs. It likes to go. It likes to get up about 6 or so and be moving. So for the street, that's one thing. The track, this bike is always in the high RPMs. It does hit rev cut at about 13.5, but it's up there and you want it to be up there. It's producing very good power. It has a ton of mid-range. The place that this bike likes to be is like right after 8 grand, just digging through the RPMs, and it's a blast. Now, if you're doing a freeway pull and you're just running through the RPMs at all times, you may not feel what I'm gonna be talking about for the next one because you're always accelerating. What I felt on the track as I'm mobbing, sometimes you kind of let it live up in the RPM and then sit there because you're going around the corner and you might not feel the smoothest. The CP4 engine, it does translate the engine vibration to you quite a bit, which is good. You can use that. You know where your traction is at all times. Now those downshifts, I gotta get out of that. Now, what I was doing on those downshifts is I was throwing the rev in it, right? I don't need to do that. I need to just pull the clutch in and let it out. The slipper clutch in this bike, that's what it's designed for. It's designed to reduce that back torque, and I've always been so used to throwing the rev myself, I'm not letting the slipper clutch do what it's got to do, and it's going to do it a lot better than I'm going to do it, right? That's one thing that I need to change for myself. I'll let the bike do its thing instead of me trying to assist it. Now, I ultimately love the pops and bangs this factory exhausts have, but it's so quiet, you guys don't hear it. If I didn't put a microphone on the back of the bike, you guys would probably never hear this bike, you know. So what I did experience on the track, I loved, but I want some sound. As I go by, you didn't hear anything. Absolute silence. Something moving so fast, being so quiet is just odd. It's something that I have to change. I just want some more sound to this bike. Violence is a very good motorcycle, and I want it to not only look the part, I want it to sound the part as well. The sound is what's needed. This bike sounds glorious, and I want everybody to feel that sound, to hear that sound, experience it. Now for the street, this bike, the suspension is really rigid. It's really good, and you probably wouldn't want any more. I had set the suspension myself. We tried it out in the back roads. Everything felt glorious to me. I did go and have the guy check me out to see how he thought I did on the suspension setup. No way, full banger boy. That was crazy. He set my suspension, and God, it's good. I already had it pretty good. He did a click or two in, and when he went and pushed it, he realized that it was soft. These bikes are notorious for having soft suspension. So he actually put it back to where I had it, but went quarter of a click out. So hey, we did pretty good from what we learned, everything that we experienced and looked up and researched on the internet. On the road, this bike is super rigid. It seems rigid, but on the track, it's soft. You kind of get the best of both worlds when you're riding it on the street, because it's just firm enough that you're like, this is a sports bike, you know. But then it's just soft enough to be comfortable. But on the track, we don't care about no softs. Boy, we need this joint to be what it needs to be when it needs to be it. Nice. Yeah, so the tires are still set for the track, so they aren't proper for the street, honestly. So I shouldn't be doing too much at all. I'm gonna definitely go back around again just because I'm having fun. But for the most part, what I need to work on is my body positioning, and that's something that I feel like is going to suit me the best as far as handling situations on this motorcycle, because it handles amazing. I must say, astonishingly good. Soft suspension or not, can it get better? Yes. You know, when you listen to Josh Herrin and a lot of the other guys, which I'm glad that they have YouTube channels and shit like that, because they tell you, hey, I don't touch the bike, I just ride it. But Josh Herrin is also like a whole human, less height and weight than me. You know what I'm saying? So I want to get the most out of this bike. Lovely. And I think that'll probably be all that I do as far as suspension goes, just the inserts and oil. The rear seems to be pretty good. Like my homeboy and his Honda, when you look at the era of the motorcycle that's made in, is Danny Pedrosa and Marc Marquez. My homeboy's Honda is extremely cramped on the cockpit as far as the rear sets go and, you know, the seat height. So he was looking for all kind of options to make that bike feel better. He doesn't know, you know, why they think that that would be the best bet to make a bike so cramped in the cockpit, but that's why he was looking for pegs and rear set options, is because of that. It's such a short, cramped bike. Pedrosa and Marquez are what, like 5'1" and 5'7", but the cockpit of that Fireblade is really small. Rossi's like a 5'9", 5'10" dude, and I'm 5'10" and a half, right? And I've got perfect amount of space. Matter of fact, I have my rear sets on the highest option that's available, right? I mean, I've got all kinds of space, perfect for me. That's wild. So, that was interesting. That would have been very unfortunate. I mean, I don't think that I was in danger. I didn't feel like I was in danger. I didn't say no oh shit or nothing, because I felt like I was alright. I always see the exit when things like that happen. I could have went both ways. But, yeah, those are the kind of things that happen, and you got to be very aware when you're riding. Damn. Where the rider at? A good bike. It's just such a good bike. This bike being 100% standard, it's taught me a lot. Now, I'm the 600 fanboy, right? I love these 600s. I think that they are the most glorious thing that has hit motorcycling. I think that's what I grew up with, really wanting to ride. I thought they were the coolest looking motorcycles. They sounded the coolest. They revved the furthest. It was just a 600s were cool as shit. Am I now a leader fan? These are cool. They're picking up on what the 600s put down. They're the same size now. They just set up a little different, a little bit more suspension and a longer wheelbase. But as far as what these bikes essentially used to be to what they are now, far different. They're absolute animals. Everything good to the biking industry that they need to be, and everything good to the rider that they need to be. For the most part, I still love 600s, but this has taught me a ton. I mean, this R1 has fear instilled in me, right? The 600, I used to just bang, 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 and I didn't have too much of a fear on riding them. They were just a blast. They were fun. This I could be a little bit cautious on because I know what can happen, what it'll do to me. For the most part, it's teaching me more. I'm becoming a better rider because of this. It was the right time for me to get on leader bikes. I learned more on this bike in the short time period that I've had it. And I won't say than the whole time I've been on 600s, but I've learned so much more in the shortest time frame on this than I did on the 600s. I've always been a fan. The R1 and the R6, when they first came out, the first generation, had a Champions Edition. The Champions Edition had a white nose piece, stripe over the top, and white tail. This generation and the one before, they had a World GP 50th Anniversary Edition, which was a all-white base with the red striping and black. That was really cool. That was what I wanted, and that was the livery that I was going to go for on this bike. So when I was looking for this bike, I wanted an all-white one because I wanted the white base. I wanted a white tank. I didn't care if it was the white and blue or white and red. I just wanted the white base so that I can do my livery. There's a consumer one that comes on this year bike. I didn't want that one. I wanted to do the actual one that they had on the bike set. The race bikes. When I got this, I was like, ooh, this red looks really good. I like it. So I decided I wanted to keep it red. Then that side YZF R1 stripe and the belly pan kind of got to me. I was like, I like that too. I like how this bike looks. Damn. So as I'm sitting on Ride 4 and I'm playing Ride 4, I built a livery where I took the WGP 50 striping, obviously it's reversed, and put it over the top of the bike. I said, damn, that looks really good. So I hit my guys Pro Style Wraps. I gave them the idea. They said, easy, we could do that. They popped up at the house. They knocked it out. And what we got is just this glorious nose panel. And the WGP just has like a tiger stripe here. It's like a tightening up triangle top to bottom. I didn't like that. I like the full length because there's a body line right here that you don't really see. But this goes up and this just follows that line. Super sexy. Ultimately exactly what I wanted. And this is all freehand, right? Look at this. This looks like a factory piece. Even around here. Pro Style Wraps has done all of my vinyl. All of the cars that are wrapped is Pro Style. I got the R6 wrapped Pro Style. So it was a no-brainer. I go to them and get this done. Plus, they hooked me up with my brother's tribute stickers. So Pro Style Wraps was just gonna be my go-to. I mean, look at this. Dude, look. This just looks like factory. It's perfect in the body lines. I mean, it just wraps right on the bottom of the edge. This is just, they did such a substantial job. Check out Pro Style Wraps on Instagram. Hit them up, they'll get you taken care of. I didn't want to change that mid fairing, so what did I do? I just took the white pinstriping, added the white tracing over that, and that works out. Now, the only reason I didn't do the lower is because I like this track day stuff. It's giving me what it needs to give, right? It's giving me good vibes. The track days that I go to, they just, you know, tape stuff up or take it off or unplug it. No big deal. I didn't want to have tape all over my bike, so I just unplugged my headlight, unplugged my tail light, and took my mirrors off. We're good to go. But a lot of other places, they require a belly pan. Now, the belly pan significance is, see, this is a really short belly pan, and the center is wide open. If you did a job, oil change, something, and you didn't tighten everything up, it's going to leak out on the track. If your radiator hose busts, it's going to leak out on the track. What the belly pan does, when you put the belly pan on, it holds, I think, a little over a gallon or two of fluids. And it comes all the way back right there to close to the swing arm. So it's hella long, so it can carry all of that fluid. I'm going to be adding that. It's gonna look a little cooler because it's more fairing and it covers up most of that exhaust there. It's the nature of the beast. If I want to go to certain track events, then I'm gonna need it. I haven't needed it on this one, and I don't think I need it on the next two that I've already ordered up track days for, but it's gonna be pretty cool. Now, I'm saying that because of that top and that white stripe there. When I get this lower belly pan, I have the carbon fiber fairing and carbon fiber swing arm covers coming. The lower belly pan might be full carbon fiber. So that's ultimately all that I'm really gonna do with this bike. I will get clip-ons, and if I'm gonna do the clip-ons, I might as well do rear sets. So this bike is what it is. It looks like how it's gonna look for the moment, and I'm just gonna add exhaust on it, and then that should be it. I really do enjoy this bike. It taught me a ton. It's very flickable on the track. It's really good and aggressive. The speed and things that don't make sense on the street make a ton of sense on the track. You just have to find that balance on the street. A lot of people just take a bike and modify it all the way one way. Same thing they do with cars. They always modify cars to do pulls on the freeway in straight line. They do the same thing with these bikes, and it's such a disservice because the second you take it off of the street and put it on the track, everything makes sense, and then you don't want to compromise what it can do on the track for some bullshit that you're going to do on the street. I'm going to experience the bike and explore everything I need to out of that, and go from there. And I think other than that, aesthetically, it's just going to be clip-ons, carbon fiber frame, swing arm, and the belly pan, and that'll be it. Exhaust for some sound. And of course, y'all know these wheels. I gotta get white wheels. I want Marchesinis, the OZs, or some Carl Zeras. I'm in the hunt for those. Depending on what I can afford at the point that I go and get them, that's what I'm gonna get. So I'm really leaning towards the OZs, because the OZs are a 5-spoke like these, but they're a little thin and they look super dope. So white wheels is just going to set that off perfectly. If not, the double Y 5 spokes of the Carl Zeras and Marchesinis. And either or, that white wheel is going to set it off. It's going to look glorious. So that's what I'm going to be going after here in a little bit. And that's really going to be all I'm going to do to this bike. This is the move, and I'm very happy to have it. So other than that, I've gotten my feel on this bike. I've definitely got my feel on it, and I think that this is one of the most legendary bikes that I could have got, and I'm very happy to have it. No, it doesn't take over my love for the R6, but god damn, I love this thing, man.
Oh, and also a big shout out to this company, Sedici. I had never heard of them before. I like AGV, Shoei, Arai. Those just the typical who's who of helmets. Dot is regular. Shit, you could have a random ass helmet. This could be Dot. I needed a specific approved, like, this is a SA 2015 or 2020, so it's approved for car racing. Not a lot of helmets you're gonna get that's approved for a lot of shit, but what I did want to do was either get a SA or get a ECE approved helmet. So you see, this is DOT and ECE approved helmet. I was like, shit, well, that's a good quality joint. The price was all right. You know, it wasn't too bad. And given the colorway on the helmet, that's kind of what made me just go ahead and do my thing like I had already wanted to, because the colorway kind of really matched, really looked good. This with this, woo-wee. So that's why I showed you the helmet in the beginning of that video clip, because it was definitely what inspired me to just go ahead and do it. So, but I really, really appreciate my bike lineup now. These two being the crown jewels. You know, it's everything I want out of two bikes right here. And I will say, 600s are way better on the street than this. That's going to be it for this vlog, y'all. Check y'all in 2, and I'm going to see you on another video.